Krystal Sparks, thank you so much for coming on with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
At Krystal Sparks is where you can find her. You know where that is. Let me start out with the most basic, boring, everyone needs to know this, and everyone already does, but we always start the same way. How did you initially decide to get into the adult entertainment industry in whatever form that was? If it was stripping, camming, when was the first time you were like, fuck this day job shit, I need to do something different?
Oh, great question. I feel like a lot of people have the same story as me. I was born and raised in a very strict religious household. Sex was off the table as far as conversation went. It actually, every time I remember something new, but I remember during like sex ed class, I went to Catholic school and the teacher was like, ladies, when you get home, you know, because there's all girls in a class and all boys in another class. And the boys get the condoms to blow up and play with, and the girls get nothing. We didn't get condoms. But anyways, our teacher told us, like, go home and get a hand mirror and hold it to your vagina and get familiar with that body part. Like, it's a part of you. And I go home and I ask my mom for a hand mirror. Mind you, the only hand mirror she had was like a silver, like one that you saw on the Titanic. Like, it was from the late 1800s, the fancy kind. It was actually my grandmother's. And she straight
out of Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah,
It's got a face and everything talking to you. Okay, yeah. Interesting.
And she goes to hand it to me and she's like, well, what do you want it for? Because she was also very much against vanity. Like, she had my hair cut rather short because she didn't want me spending too much time in the mirror, you know, fixing my hair, whatever. And so she goes to hand it to me and she's like, what do you need it for? And I said, well, Miss So-and-so at school told me to take it and look at my vagina. And she goes, what? And she called the school and yelling, ranting and raving. But anyways, that was the household I grew up in. And so when I was about 27, I want to say, one of my girlfriends, in her house, and I had no idea what it was at the time. Now I do. But in her house, she was setting up each room with a different theme. And she was basically starting a camming like site. And we were kind of talking and I said, oh, I would love to do different things to explore my sexuality. You know, here I am almost 30 years old and I've never even had sex with the lights on. I was very, that's bad, you know, you're going to go to hell. And she's like, well, why don't you try doing this camming thing with me? I was like, sure, okay. I liked it. It was fun. It was more interesting than anything just because it was interesting hearing different people's requests, what different people liked. Like, that was a whole new world to me. And so that's kind of when I started and then paused for it was probably about 3 years until COVID hit. And my boyfriend at the time, he said, oh, what do you think about doing this OnlyFans thing? Because we were kind of getting into the lifestyle.
Okay.
Swingers.
Sure.
And I was like, well, what the hell? We have nothing else to do. We were on lockdown. And so it kind of went from there. I did OnlyFans, all the other stuff for a couple of years. And then we were at Play It Again Sam's. I started my porn star collection. So my OnlyFans was just having sex with AVN Hall of Famers. And, and so we were hanging out with Nick Manning at Play It Again Sam's in Las Vegas, this hole in the wall strip club, like dark, seedy, $20 lap dances for one song, you know. And he said, oh, you want to be a dancer? You want to give it a try? And I'm like, where did this conversation come from? And I was like, no, when I'm drinking, I kind of want to get on stage just to have fun. And he's like, no, you should give it a try. You'd be great. So next thing I know, I'm working at Play It Again Sam's and dancing at this hole in the wall strip club in Chinatown in Las Vegas. It was fun, but you know, that's where it all started. It went from there. A couple of years later, I was introduced to my agent. She asked if I wanted to go pro. I wasn't sure, but I took the plunge and here we are today.
You're like a talking head song. It's like, how did I get here? You went from Catholic school. I did 12 years of Catholic school, preschool to 8th grade. And then we moved to public school for that. And it was just a total culture shock. But it's so funny. So many people have whatever that adult defiance thing that comes in where it's like, all of my life you've told me I can't do this. And I've spoken to so many women that it's the same way. It's like, I was so repressed as a child and blah, blah, blah. It's like people don't just get, they're going to break out at some point.
Now I can.
Good thing they didn't just grind into your head like, don't go kill people. You might be a mass murderer right now. Like, Jesus, stop telling kids they explicitly cannot do things. Well, I mean, you and I will say kids can't watch anything that you would be in yet. Of course. Not until they're 18. And probably 21 in other states. I don't know. But now. Yeah, who knows anymore. But yeah, it's so funny. It always starts out that way. Not always, but once in a, it really starts out that way.
A lot of times, yeah.
You know, the weird shift I heard, though, wasn't so much going into dancing and this and that. And not a weird shift at all. Just a total 180, it seemed like. How did you... Were you talked, or did you talk the boyfriend into getting into the lifestyle? Like, how do you move from, again, Catholics, oh my God, I never had the sex with the lights on until I was 27. And then we're just swinging, baby.
Now we're swingers.
Yeah. Who convinced who on that one?
Another great question. So he had already been in the lifestyle since his early 20s. He's 14 years older than me. So now, oh gosh, I keep saying I'm almost 28, but I'm almost 38. I'm my subconscious is resisting.
You look but, almost 28. You look phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you. And he is about to turn 52 this year, I believe. So he had been married before, and they were in the lifestyle for about 17 years. So he was familiar. And he really dug into my fantasies. Like, you know, all guys do it with the girl they're dating. Do you have any fantasies, you know, that have never been fulfilled? Blah, blah, blah. And when he asked me that question, I was like, you will never know about my fantasies. And he's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, no, they're too bad. Like, they're bad. Like, and here I'm just thinking about like a girl getting fucked by two different guys at the same time.
Oh my God.
Or, you know,
heretic. Oh.
And now that's my favorite. Like, that's like vanilla for me. But yeah. And so he really pulled all that out of me. And then he's like, well, you know, there's this club in town that I've been going to for 20 years. He's like, why don't you, you know, come hang out with us, blah, 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 see how you feel. I was scared to death. I was like shaking inside. And walking through the door, I just knew I was going to walk in and it would be like this massive Greek orgy. Everyone just having sex with everyone, and I'd get pulled in and have to, you know, do something I wasn't comfortable with. Nothing like that. It was just like walking into a bar, and there are private rooms, you know, and sure, there's the orgy room, which now I frequent.
There's a plaque with your name on it up there now.
Okay. Is. There are posters with my face all over the club. But they call me the residential porn star there now. But yeah, it is kind of a story of me coming in as scared to death, like a little baby lamb going to the slaughter, to now I'm like, who's first?
Sure. I'm what am I? This year I turned 38, but I've been with my wife since we were 19, right? It's only over the last few years when I start developing the show and blah, 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 that I come to my wife and I'm like, hey, tell me, you know, what you want, what you're interested, you know, I've been trying that for the longest time, but now I'm really comfortable because I'm talking to all these people in the industry, and I've always been comfortable with it. I kind of just don't give a shit. But my wife, same way. She's like, I don't want to tell you I mean, like, you know, maybe if I was like tied up or someone is ripping a motorcycle outside. I don't know if you could hear that. Okay, good. That was the loudest vehicle I've ever heard in my life. So something so basic and simple, just like, oh, you know, I wouldn't mind being tied up. I'm like, tied up? Do you know some of the girls I talk to and what they do? Please tell me anything. You're not going to scare me away with any of it. I think most of the time, when guys, I've heard other people in the lifestyle that I've done interviews with who say things like, the guy will be like, tell me what you're interested in. And then if a girl were to say, like, I'd love to be with two guys. Well, if I'm in a committed relationship, I wasn't looking to go that far. A lot of guys would lose it over that. They're probably more just looking for like, oh, I'd like another girl in the bedroom with us.
Oh, yeah.
That, to me, from the outside, seems extremely selfish of a guy. Is it
100%?
Are there guys like that in the lifestyle, and are they kind of looked at as kind of like, oh, he's like one of those fakers, like half-ass type things?
Yeah, for sure. Especially like there's the single guys in the lifestyle that get a bad rap because of guys. Let me preface this by saying in the lifestyle, the women comes first. The woman comes first. I can't talk now. They are the ones you want to make sure you approach. If you know your etiquette, you want to approach them first. You want to introduce yourself, and then, man or woman, I would say, I do the same thing. I'm not going to just go up to some woman's husband and be like, hey, suck your cock. And then, then the woman is like, well, hello, they're there as a team. And so we always want to pay respects to the woman. And the more you have in common with them, the more comfortable you are with them, the more likely it is something is going to happen. Because, if the woman says no, it's just like tipping at a restaurant. If the woman says, oh no, they're horrible, they're not getting a tip, the husband's probably not going to do it, or he's going to sneak behind her back to do it.
Right. Not directly do it against her. Yeah, right, that makes sense. I
mean, nobody wants to be that rude, but we have our moments. But when it comes to single men, they get a bad rap because a lot of them don't know or understand that. So they'll either sit there and just like stare, or they'll go up when the husband walks away. And then that right there rubs couples the wrong way because it
looks vulture-y.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then or you look disrespectful to the man in the couple, But when it comes to men bringing in, which the more I talk, maybe you meant more along this line, men bringing their wives or trying to introduce them to the lifestyle and by saying, is that more what you meant?
Well, I'm just picturing, like, I've known dudes in my life who've been like, oh, I would look into being a swinger, but like, I don't want my chick with another guy. It's like, well, then you don't want to be a swinger. It sounds like you wouldn't get blown by two girls.
Right. Yeah. So sorry, I misunderstood that. That's a whole other conversation.
No, but that's actually a great one because I've never really considered that. Like, say I am a single guy walking into a swinger bar, party, whatever it is, if that's even allowed, a single guy at a party, I don't know. Do I like look at the guy with the wife that I find attractive and I start asking him if he likes baseball? Like, I don't, like, do I have to be friends with... I understand it's like the concept of, the couples. You want to get the couples together and see if they're compatible the other way and then, back and forth. But a single guy, when you threw that out there, I was like, yo, that happens? I can't imagine a single guy because I'd be looking at him like, creep.
A lot of people do, yeah, but single men are my favorite in the lifestyle. But a lot of women, they, because of that bad rap, there are clubs in Vegas that do not allow single men at all. Like, it's couples only. Some clubs will have specific nights just for single men, or usually they're like gangbang nights, when the ladies know, oh, all these single men are going to be there. That's what you're going there for. But no, I would say that the most successful single men in the lifestyle just treat it like it's a regular bar and not like they're chasing after something. So if my husband and I are sitting down at a table outside drinking with friends or just by ourselves, and then some guy comes over, maybe we make eye contact and he's been staring at me for however long and I haven't noticed because I'm oblivious. And then he just comes over and is like, oh, hey, my name is blah, 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 introduce himself, sits down. How do you guys come here often? That conversation that you normally have at a bar when you're trying to pick up a woman, I guess. But you incorporate the man in there too, and try not to act uncomfortable as much as possible because it shows that confidence level. Women love confidence. And if you're just like, oh, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. I saw you from over there. You're beautiful. Like, how long have you been coming here? Oh, this is my first time. And just have a conversation. And then it either will lead somewhere or it won't. And if you ask directly and you're like, are you guys playing tonight? What are you just hanging out, drinking, whatever? If that woman is interested in you, yes, we're playing tonight. Or if we weren't, yep, now we are. And so, yeah, the woman usually makes the call. So just do whatever you can not to creep her out.
This is gonna be a rude question, not to you, but obviously I'm not asking to call anyone out. I don't even know if you could, but have you ever had where your guy is looking at a girl and really liking a girl, and then you see the guy and you may have to take the L tonight? And have you ever pushed it back the other way where you see a guy and you look at your man and you're like, look, I know she only has one arm, but you're gonna have to do this for me, okay?
I hear that happens quite often. Some couples have the rule though where no one takes one for the team. Like it's equal fun for all. For my husband and I specifically, we are in the dynamic of stag vixen or hot wife. My husband likes to see me receive pleasure and have fun, and then I prefer him to join in. He doesn't really just like to sit there and watch. I always say my favorite position is the spit roast.
Sure. Sure.
So that's like my favorite. People tell me it's not really a position, but if it's not,
Who says it's not? I mean, I can picture it. You look like a chicken spinning there on the rotisserie. I get it 100%. Yes. That's not real. It is. I'm seeing it. So there you go.
It is. I've done it many times. But yeah, so that's our dynamic. We have messed around with other couples before, but we've thought that both people were equally attractive. She was beautiful. He was handsome. One couple that was one of our favorites was from Scotland. So the accent was just,
okay.
And it was on a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. at a club in Vegas. We were not expecting to do anything. It was dead. And they just walked in and we both looked at each other and were like, that was one of our first, I think, couples, but mostly we did the single male thing. Now that I'm professional in the industry, sadly, a lot of the lifestyle stuff has kind of taken a seat because you have to be tested in order. So if I meet a guy in the club nowadays, it looks, instead of me like, yeah, let's go to the orgy room, I'll suck your cock. It looks more like, well, do you live here? Are you visiting from out of town? Do you have time to go get tested? Can I make an appointment with you? Do you want to be on camera? Have you ever been in a porn before?
Can I have some of your blood, please? It's just going to a lab. Don't sweat it.
But a lot of times there's no issue still. Like the guy's just like, yeah, 100%. I'll do it. And when can I be there? So it's just not as spontaneous anymore. But yeah, I hear of couples all the time where they have to take one for the team. And I just think I don't know. I've asked my husband before, like, oh, she's attractive, like, because I'm thinking the husband's attractive, and he's like, she looks like my fucking grandma, because I like older men. So, and he's a man, so natural. Well, I guess some men like older women, but
when they're younger, men like what they don't have generally. Right now, I'm a young guy. I like an old chick. When I'm an old guy, I like a young chick. Like that
makes sense.
Men are Men are the problem in the world is kind of how I look at it. This should all make sense. It doesn't because of men.
I think women are probably the same way. So we just hide it better.
Sure. So you've taken these jumps now. You've gone from in the middle of church to swing parties to camming. What is the next step where you go, fuck it, put it on the internet forever? Was it just like, were you so ingrained in this stuff now where you're just kind of like, hey, it's not even a huge step for me? Or was that a huge step for you?
Oh, it was a huge step for my career and our relationship, because before everything was lifestyle based. And so we did everything together. Like whenever we'd go to shoot content with someone, he was there. Whenever there was anything being done, any playtime being done, we were there together. It was for both of us. And when we were at AVN a few years ago, and Rick Stronghold introduced me to Sandra with OC. He's like, oh, just come over here and meet her. You're going to love her. She's going to love you. I wasn't even talking about having an agent. We were just kind of going around meeting different agents, just playing with the idea. And she introduced herself and she goes, I would love to be your agent. And I looked at my husband and I said, are we going to do this like that? Because in my head, I'm thinking that means I'm going to be going to professional shoots by myself. Like this is now turning into a completely different thing. It won't be a lifestyle thing anymore or solely. And, he said, yeah, why not? Let's give it a shot. And it started less than 30 days after that.
Now, did you both anticipate that it would have to put somewhat of a clamp or a crimp down on your personal lifestyle? Or was the excitement of now you're entering a world of very exciting, very sexual, best looking people in the world? Like, was there like this door's closing, but you know what they say, God always opens a window, right? We learned that when we were younger.
Yes.
Was that the trade-off, or was it like, is he now sitting there like, can we go to the bar? And you're like, no one's getting tested, so no, we're not.
Yeah, right. That's a great question, and I think it did kind of sneak up on us. Like it. I don't think we fully had the realization that, hey, this isn't so much a lifestyle thing anymore until maybe within the last year when things really started ramping up. And, there's this thing with couples where one is in the industry and one's not. People talk about it all the time where, oh, you just got, railed by 7 different guys, whatever. And now you're coming home and your husband or your girlfriend or your wife, they want to make love. And you're like, I'm so sore. I'm so tired, like, please. And then it breaks out because that other person feels like they're not getting the attention they need and want. And so we did go through a period where we were trying to figure that balance out, and still kind of are trying to perfect it. But I feel like that's a journey that may never end, because it's always something new. Things are always changing. Things are always progressing or whatever it is. So you just have to love each other enough to fight for it, I guess, and to have that patience to figure it out, Sure.
So you said in there something, you said, I'm going to be going to set now and you're not going to be coming necessarily. Are there girls in the industry that do try and like bring their guy along, and how quickly are they shooed away from the industry?
I have been told that people have asked that before, and like directors will say, if everyone on set is comfortable with it, I don't care. Or maybe they'll just say straight up no. I've never asked that because I wouldn't want to put anyone on set in a position to feel bad or, whatever. So yeah, I have heard that before, but I've never personally done it. I have, it was a question when we first started, when we had our like phone interview with my agent. It was a question he asked because he's now part of my management team. And he's not just the boyfriend that says they're the manager. Like, he busts his butt for me, and he probably works more than I do at this stuff. But he works in tech for his main job, his day job, and so he does all the editing and posting and paperwork and all that stuff. Like, thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, he did ask the question. So am I ever going to be able to like be on set with her? And Sandra said, well, that occasionally happens if people like, maybe once you get to know people and, they're comfortable with that. And she's like, I wouldn't expect it to happen right away. So now there are people that I've worked with multiple times and they've met him multiple times and hung out with us. And they probably would be like, yeah, I don't care. But it's also, I don't want to be the person who's like bringing her husband, who now people are looking like, oh, who's this cuck in the corner, like getting off to us. And so, I don't want people to ever think or feel that. So
sure. That was interesting to me too, because I interviewed again somebody else that was in the industry recently, and that was the question. So if I'm an online hater looking at your thing, blah, 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 typing, nasty in my mother's basement going, your husband's a real cuck. Now, cuck is thrown out as an insult, but I mean, in this industry, a guy might want to be a cuck. I mean, but that's not the case in your situation. There's no like humiliation effort, nothing like that, right?
No, none whatsoever. Although I have always thought, and here I am learning new stuff again, I've always thought he's not a cuck. If anyone tried to insult him while we were playing or whatever, it would be done. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, his cock's so much bigger than yours. Like, oh, look, you could never please me like this. Like, never. That's not, it doesn't turn him on. It doesn't turn me on. I'm an exhibitionist. He's a voyeur. So it works out that way. But a director not too long ago did tell me that's still a cuck. He's like, a cuck is anyone who likes to watch. And so maybe different people have different definitions for the same word.
We're going to Google it right now. Definition cuckold. Let's see. A man whose wife is sexually unfaithful regarded as an object of derision. See, no, I don't think so. And especially, you're not being unfaithful if you're fucking in front of him. Like, I mean, he knows, he's aware, he's not Ray Charles.
Right.
So, but I make, I don't care what if a guy wants to be cucked out, that's totally cool. My theory is, as long as there's no dogs or kids in the room, we're good. Do what you got to do, I
heard you say that on another episode. Yep. I listened and I thought, I say that all the time. That's what I say. Even we have a lifestyle podcast and I'm like, I will do just about anything. I am a freak. I love it. I will try just about anything. Dogs or kids, that's where I draw my line.
Yeah.
We're done. Nope.
What is the name of your podcast?
Swing Shot, live from the Red Rooster.
There you go.
So it's a swingers podcast. We've taken kind of a hiatus due to my career taking off, but we're about to start it back up again. But we started during COVID.
You'll have a lot bigger name guests you can have on now if you want to have them, like people in the industry. Bring them on, talk about it. Let me do a thing I like to do called Stat Check, okay? We're going to do a thing called Stat Check based on the Internet Adult Film Database. Now, inevitably, when I say this, every woman goes, those numbers are wrong. I go, I know. They're not tracking this. They're not tracking that. They're not tracking OnlyFans. At Krystal Sparks, make sure you check her out. But I'm going to base it on the numbers there. That way, when I have you back on a year from now and you have AVN awards flowing all over you, and I'm like, I can't even see you, Krystal, blah. We'll be able to look back and go, remember when? So, number of scenes, according to the Adult Entertainment Film Database, is 44. Number of guys you have worked with is 16. Number of girls you've worked with, 25. 1 nomination, and no wins yet. What was the nomination? Best Newcomer, I think it was?
Well, last year I was nominated for a Best Newcomer, and then this past year I was nominated, or the 3 different movies I was in was nominated, but that wasn't me personally. Everyone kept saying, congratulations with the nominations. I'm like, those are the directors. So yeah.
Just take it. Say, yep, yes. I'm that many nominations. Like when I built my website, they have different referral things you can drop on there, and I had a DraftKings thing on there. It's just a referral. I get it from like a DraftKings account I have. And so many people have been like, you were sponsored by DraftKings? I go, sure. Yeah. Whatevs. Go ahead. Roll with it. Let me get into some of your content then, Krystal. Yeah. What do you like to shoot the most, and what sells the most? Because oftentimes they're not always the same. It's a great synergy if you can, you really love solo videos where you like eat Cheetos and watch Netflix, and guys are like, I want to buy that. Wouldn't that be the dream? Fuck, I know, right? What's your like best selling type of content?
I would say what I started with, and what I still kind of try and center it around, which is hot wifing. My husband filming while I'm getting railed by some other guy. Every now and then he can sneak in there and do like a POV thing. So, I'm like, honey, come here. And I start messing with him while so that's mainly what I do. And that's what sells the most on mine too. So okay, I am there, I guess.
Is there any like trend or fetish or anything like that you want to dive into and you hope it will be successful? Maybe it's not a big core of the content you make now, at Krystal Sparks, by the way, but that you really want to like, fuck, I hope this takes off. That would be so cool if it was the next faux incest. Yeah.
Right. So I think everyone in the industry would love if anything was the next faux incest. Right. Yeah. We're all kind of like, okay, come on, this shit's getting ridiculous. But okay, so I just recently started something new, and I hope it takes off. and it's really simple and it's just me. And so far I'm getting really great feedback. So just dressing up in a different like costume or cosplay or whatever. And not so much writing a script, I'm ad-libbing, but yeah, just, or is that the word I'm looking for? I don't think that's the word I'm looking for.
Improving, ad-libbing, just coming up with stuff off the top. Yeah, right. Sure. All right, so you're is it like cosplay exactly, or is it like?
No, not necessarily, because I think different people have a different definition of that than I do. I'm not dressing up like an anime character or whatnot. Okay. I am a huge Trekkie. So I might do I have a few Star Trek uniforms, but I'm trying to look into the legality of that. I don't want to get sued by my favorite people.
Yeah, I get that.
But I did like not too long ago a sex therapist one where I was wearing like a satin button-up blouse and glasses and, the long pencil skirt. And I just sat down and for about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm just talking with a pad, like saying, oh, okay. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me show you. And then I'm like, this is the clitoris. And it was like a 10-minute video and people loved it. And then I also did, oh gosh, what was another one I did? I did one with like baby oil where I just like basically the same thing. I was teaching some younger man, how to please a woman. And so I was like, oh, baby oil, and was rubbing it all over myself. And I have a bush. So, guys like me to incorporate that. So just like shorter videos where I'm dressed up as a nurse or doctor, therapist, teacher, whatever. And I'm just kind of putting on a little skit and then it's more like porn, organized scripted porn than anything else. So my husband's been trying to get me to do this for years. And like, ever since I started, I'm like, I have no idea, like, that's stupid. I have no idea what you're talking about. And he's like, please, people would love it. They'd love it. Just a different one every time. We can post 2 or 3 a week. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea what you want. I have no idea. I was lost. And so one day not too long ago, I was just like, what am I going to do for this shit? Like, he wants it. I have no idea what he wants. So I just thought, I'll just act like I'm a sex therapist. And so I sat down, it took off, and he's like, I have been begging for you to do this for so long. He's like, thank you. And I'm like, you just wanted me to write a porn script and act it out? Like, why didn't you just say that?
Oh.
So I am starting that and trying that. We'll see how it goes, because it is getting away from the hot wife thing. But I think I'll still continue to do that, of course. But I think with the new fans I have following me who haven't been with me since the very beginning, they're really appreciating that new stuff, so because so many people now are doing the hot wife thing. So even people who don't work in the professional porn industry, if you're just swingers who have OnlyFans, they're all doing that. That's what they're doing. And so that is something new I'm trying that I hope. But other than that would be anal. I haven't done my first anal shoot yet. And so if it doesn't come sooner than later, then I guess I'm just going to start doing it on my OnlyFans.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to just do it yourself. And by the way, folks, my guest next week is going to be Krystal's husband, where he just yells for an hour and goes, I told her to do it. And I go, I know, they never listen to us, do they? They never listen. We have such good ideas, and they just never listen to us. And then him and I cry to each other, like men do.
People appreciate that.
I have a pitch for you. I pitched this to Bad Bella the other day, another performer, and I think it's a good idea, but it already might be out there. All stationary cameras, write it like an Airbnb where we're not supposed to do anything dirty, and just cut between the stationary cameras as you fuck on some guy's couch. I just came up with a name as you were talking, Air TNA. There you go. When this idea takes off and everyone's like, oh my God, I used to want to fuck my stepbrother, but now I want to fuck in someone's Airbnb. Like, that'll be our idea. This is all of our collectives on this show.
I love it. And we won't be able to get sued like some people who actually did it,
Sure. Yeah. What is, all right, so we've been joking about the faux incest, and I want to dive into that more. What is, I mean, it's been in the industry for 10 years, it seems like now. What is your thoughts on that? And by the way, you are still qualified to play stepmommy if you don't like it, but maybe you do. What is your view on like that whole thing, and do you think it's healthy?
Healthy. I mean, I think that people, including myself, that's probably why I can speak on this. Some people, I can't speak for everyone, have kinks or fetishes that, let's see, someone put it perfectly to me when I first started exploring all of this. There's a difference between a fantasy and reality. Total. And there are some porns that I've watched that really get me going, but I would never do or consider in real life. And sometimes, like, I've watched like the daddy daughter, most of the time. And like I said earlier, I'm into older men. So most of the time, that's just what you have to search for to get to that older man, younger. I think now they have age play, but sometimes that goes a little too young looking for me, So, but all that to say, I don't think it's unhealthy. I think that it's definitely healthier if someone is like really into that, getting off in that way, than like going and trying to do something in real life, obviously. Yeah. So there's that aspect of it. But other than that, I don't know. I think I would hope and think it's mostly the fantasy of it all. Just, again, I haven't said this yet. I'm a deviant. So I get turned on by things I'm not supposed to get turned on by. Sure. So there have been plenty of pornos I have watched, and like the idea, the story, whatever, turns me on, gets me going, does its job. But then maybe afterwards, I'm like, I'm fucking disgusting. Like, how did I just watch that and come to it?
Sure.
So, it all depends on if it's healthy for that individual. Now, acting it out, there have been times where I've worked with a young man who I feel like I could break in half, and I'm tiny. So, but when you look at it that way, it's my job. I'm still having fun. They're still great guys. They're way younger than I would ever mess around with in real life. Again, not my thing. Maybe one day when I'm in my 50s, it'll be my thing, like you said. But I think it's healthy, depending on the person. And sometimes it can get a little cringe and like creepy. Like, what the fuck do you guys want me to say? Like, what? But most of all, we just laugh about it because it's so ridiculous. But
sure. Yeah. I think same as all types of porn, though. Understand that it's fantasy, it's entertainment, it's whatever it is. You have to draw that line. Then you get creepy people sending you letters written in blood, and it's, yeah. I looked at your Twitter, and the very first picture right up here, posted just a few hours ago, is 2 knives, a beret. All right, this right here is
wrong. It's supposed to be barrette.
Oh, I don't fucking know the difference. Barrette. Okay, maybe I just spelled it wrong. No, you probably got it right. This right here is my life in a picture. Total accident. 2 knives, a crystal, and a hair beret. Or barrette. And my schedule. Your schedule looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not even the whole thing. That's just my stuff.
So, did you know getting into this? Now, it's nice. You have that husband at home who you said picks up a lot of the slack with that. But so many girls I interview, it's 5% of my job is fucking and 95% is social media, editing, making sure this gets through, dick ratings, whatever it is.
Yep.
Did you know working in porn was going to be so much work?
No.
Yeah.
No, I did not. And I haven't even buckled down and really done everything I should be doing yet, because I am in real life a mother. I won't give details about my children, but they're not children anymore. They're quite a bit older, so they are more self-sufficient. However, none of them drive. Even though they should be driving, but no one their age wants to operate a motor vehicle anymore. It seems they all want to take Ubers or someone drive them.
Right. Yeah. I've noticed that with my wife. My wife's cousins are like younger, like 16, 17, 18. Yeah. Dude, I could not wait to get my fucking license and just not be where I was. Okay. Yep. I just need to be moving. And they're like, yeah, I'll just find another way there. hey, here's an easier solution. You can get there. Get your ass in gear.
Go get a job.
Seriously.
Take your own money. Do something with yourself. No. They are a different breed than we were 100%. I was driving at 15. I was telling my parents, I wasn't like doing the sexual stuff, but I was telling my parents that I was going down the street a mile to spend the weekend at my best friend's house. And I was going 2 states over
well,
on road trips with my friends for the weekend. Hauling ass going 120 back home down the highway so I didn't miss my curfew. Like, wild times. But maybe that's why my parents were so strict. They knew I was up to something. But I was a good kid overall. Freedom. We wanted freedom. And that was how you got it, was by having your license and getting your first car. And I worked 3 jobs at fast food restaurants. At one point in time, I'd get 4 hours of sleep just because I wanted the money so that I could do things, you know? Kids don't want that anymore, but whatever. But yes, I have, I'm a real life MILF, as I tell these young guys on set, the 20, 21-year-olds. I'm like, well, now I got to go to the grocery store and go home and make dinner. And they're like, what? Like, yeah, I am an actual MILF. And
you're cleaning cum off your chest, and you're like, I got to pick up Lunchables.
All right, gotta
go. And we need apples at home. Jeff likes apples, so okay.
I shit you not. That's probably happened at the end of on set. 100%. Did I get everything off my face? I don't want my 18-year-old like asking, Mom, what the fuck is that? So yeah, but yes, I am very busy with work and with real life. But no, I never imagined, because, you know, when you just get into porn, especially coming off OnlyFans or whatever online stuff, in case you have to bleep that out.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So coming off that, you don't you think you're just going to shoot content, you know, and maybe you do a little editing, brushing up, whatever, and putting it on the website. But no, if you like your profession, it's almost like your professional work now is more advertisement for your actual job, which is the online stuff, because that's how you're making your money.
That's how the biggest names, you know, I also do a separate show where I interview new girls coming into the industry. And so many of them I ask, like, would you want to do mainstream stuff? And they're like, I don't know. It doesn't really pay a lot. And it's like, I agree, maybe, that it's not what you could be making on a very successful whatever. Right. But Krystal Sparks at the top of like a Brazzers or Team Skeet or whatever is a really great advertisement to send people saying, this scene was so good. I was so turned on. I would love to see if she had more stuff. So when
I get it all the time.
When I talk to new people, if they're like, I want to know, like, you know, how would I get into the industry? My recommendation is learn to edit video and take a marketing class at a community college. You know,
that's great advice.
I mean, I think a girl who's a 7 on the scale of 1 to 10, but knows all of this stuff, will make infinitely more money than a 10 who doesn't know any of this stuff, who just
100% guaranteed. My
hotness will get me through it, you know, and that's not always the case.
There's lots of hot girls out there nowadays.
Yeah, you got to know how to market yourself. That's the biggest thing.
It's all good marketing.
There you go. So let me ask, what is something that is in the industry that you just have no interest in pursuing, where it's something like, whatever it is, if it's bondage, if it's, you know what I mean by like within the industry, somewhat within norms, but not necessarily.
Right. I was just thinking like the kink stuff, like, because you mentioned bondage. I already have plans for just about everything as the years go on. You know, I went my first year, 2 years being pretty vanilla. Now I'm adding an anal, and then next year I'll add in something else. Next year, something else. But it may change. We all grow as people. Sure. But I don't ever see myself doing the like really violent, aggressive, like torture chamber stuff where, you know, I see some women do it and they love it. I'm not really big into pain. Sure. So I don't see myself getting turned on by someone punching me in my face.
Sure. Yeah, me either. Yeah.
Or like actually choking me to the point where I'm passing out or something like that. I'm not into the stuff where if I'm watching it and I don't know for sure that they're acting, I don't like that. Because like if they're actually like crying and look like they're in pain, and I don't. But I've talked to some girls who do that and they love it. They're afterwards, you know, they're like, oh no, that was the hottest thing ever. And I'm like, really? Because you didn't look like you were enjoying it.
You were crying and begging at one point. Are you sure?
Are you okay? But yeah, I think that's the only thing really I can't ever. But again, who knows? 10 years from now, I might be like, that's easy. You know, who knows? But right now, that's what I'm saying. Okay. The hardcore torture, you're leaving marks on my body for the next month. Yeah, I'll pass on that for now.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough when you see a scene and you know someone shot something rough in the last few days because you're like, oh, wow, this is a nice normal boy-girl scene. Why is she bruised to shit? Did she fall down a hill? Looking like Jay Leno when they show up on set. Fucking, what was I going to say? So going forward, what are the goals going forward? Is it, well, I guess you kind of just answered that. You want to add something new every year, right?
Yeah. Okay. I want to consistently grow and explore, because I don't ever want to forget the main reason I started doing all of this was to get to know myself, really. Because that was something that was kept from me. I'm a much, much different parent than my parents were because of it. So I think that's a good thing. There's nothing my kids, I don't want to call them kids because they are rather grown, but my offspring, they know, and God, I know, there's nothing they feel uncomfortable coming to me with. There have been many times where they're like telling me something and I'm like, you know, I'm your mother, right? Like, you know that, right? And they're like, yeah, well, that's how you raised us. Like, you want me not to tell you anything now? I'm like, anyways, but yeah, I think just as long as I consistently grow and explore and learn new things and meet new people, and I'm having fun with it, I'll keep on going because I'm having the time of my life and I never want it to stop.
That's great. That's real. I mean, so many people are working their office jobs, like 9 to 5, traveling in, sitting in a big desk with fluorescent lighting above them or whatever it is. And so many of them wish they could just get to a point where they're like, I wish I was making money doing something that makes me happy. And I think that's why you get a lot of hate. Not you specifically. No. I'm going through your Twitter and it's just everyone hates you. Wow. No.
I'm very fortunate, actually.
Yeah, but so many of them just, I understand this isn't your life. You know, don't sit there and be angry and hate about it. Figure out a pivot. Figure out something you could do. Even just get a hobby. Right? I really like find something. Plant. Let me ask you, and I don't ask this to be controversial because whatever opinion's been, it's an interesting range I get from performers. What should be the age to get into porn? Great question. Oh, that's a hard one too to answer. And I have thought about this before because of my offspring specifically. If my 18-year-old came to me and she said that she wanted to do whatever, I would 100% support her. However, thankfully now I would be in the position where I could educate her. I could make sure that she's getting in with the right people and doing it the correct way to where she's not going to be put in a situation that is going to harm her, which I hear stories and I feel so bad. I have been fortunate enough now. I haven't had one bad experience. I don't know if that's because I'm older. Because I do hear a lot of the younger girls, people might try to take advantage of them or whatnot. And that's why they get in those situations, or they don't realize they can say no without it hurting them or their careers. But most people I meet that are 18, I don't think they're mature enough to truly understand what they're getting into. Or maybe if they're just doing it for fun and a quick buck, like, okay,
are you planning on doing something in the future that, nowadays everything it's on the internet.
Right.
Someone might find that and say, we don't want to hire you for this job. We don't want to be your client. Is that going to have a serious consequence? Or is it something you want to do your whole life? And make an actual lifelong career out of it? Then, okay, that's a different story. But I have met 18-year-olds that are what blow me out of the water, and they have a good head on their shoulders. They know what they're doing. They think things through. They're responsible. So that's really hard to say. I was in the Army. It all goes back to the whole, you can fight for your country, die for your country. So if you want to fucking suck a dick for money, you should be able to. So
that was literally the analogy I was about to use.
Yep.
You're 18 years old. You can go, shoot someone in Iraq, but you can't shoot porn. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
I think you should be 21 to be able to do that, though.
Okay. I interviewed one girl years ago, though. She was new to the industry. She told a story where she met a guy online who was going to book a scene with her. 18 years old. She flies 6 states over or whatever it is on her own dime because, of course, she'll be reimbursed for it,
Oh,
she gets a hotel room on her own dime because I'm sure, she'll be reimbursed. Krystal, don't sweat it. She'll be reimbursed for it. Don't even worry about it. And then when she got there, 5 states over, whatever it was, she's from some podunk town in wherever, and she ends up somewhere else. No one answers the phone. No one picks up the phone. Oh, no one's answering now. Like,
this mama bear would be flying out there to the...
You better shoot porn with my daughter. I'm going to fucking lose it.
This is not being canceled. I will direct it, damn it. Give me a camera.
It's just, it's wisdom. It's not age, I think. You're right. There are some 16-year-olds who are just smarter and more intelligent, more emotionally intelligent than I am. And I get that. But there's plenty of 30-year-olds who don't know what the fuck they're doing with their life either. So it's tough setting a number.
Yeah, how do you make that call? How do you make it?
Krystal, this went so fast. I am so tired today. I was like, you got to get the energy up. I read in your bio you had sold vitamins. I took some vitamins before this, not meth. I took some lion's mane mushrooms and some alpha GPC. Because I heard it on a podcast, I'm sure, somewhere. And I was like, you're going to get fired up. And now I feel great. But we got to wrap this one up.
Oh, we'll have to do it again.
Where you can find her, you know exactly where to find her. Links to everything in the episode description at Krystal Sparks. Her website also in the episode description. Everything. Make sure you sign up for all of her stuff. Krystal Sparks, thank you so much for coming on with me tonight.
Thank you for having me again. It was a joy. Very fun.